Welcome back to another episode of Mostly Superheroes, a classic one for you today with a big interview. Someone that's been featured on the podcast in 2022 took the time to write in for our best of episode, welcoming to the podcast, zooming in, Jenna Anderson from Phase Zero, a comicbook.com Marvel podcast, and comicbook.com. Writing for those guys, we got Scotty Scoop, we got the Giggler. I'm Logan. This is Mostly Superheroes. Hello and welcome back to Mostly Superheroes, a weekly pursuit for the world's best stories here in St. Louis, Missouri, indie podcast. You can check us out, you can sponsor us, you can see it all at mostlysuperheroes.com, and we can't wait for you to see us there. This week, we have a great sponsor of the podcast in the Stigma, Team Jakey. Check them out on Facebook. Those guys are helping out the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, locally, Provident Behavioral Health. Big shout out to Team Jakey for helping out the show. And before we get into fan mail, doing a round table, I'm going to start with our guest. As per usual, welcome to the podcast for the first time, Jenna Anderson.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sorry, let me turn that applause up for you. We have the live
appreciate it. Thank you.
The not so live studio audience. Jenna, thank you so much for coming in. It is unbelievable. We've been planning this thing for a few months. We emailed a couple years ago. You told us how you love She-Hulk, and I can't wait to talk to you about a little She-Hulk today, a little Marvel Comics, a little DC Comics, and some MCU. So thank you again for being here. How are you this evening on this Tuesday?
I'm great. I'm so excited to talk to you guys. Like, obviously, as listeners of Phase Zero know, we mainly talk about Marvel stuff, so it's nice to be a little multi-fandom today and kind of talk about everything.
We like to always start with our fans on this show, so let's hit it up with some fan mail.
Fan mail.
Really just shouting out some contests on the show today. We're giving away Superman Year One, a graphic novel, Johnny Cash, a vinyl. You can win this. You can win $100 to a local restaurant, best sandwiches in town in St. Louis, Missouri, the Gramophone. Oh yeah, $100. Like Scotty said, you could live there.
Basically.
With that much money.
Yeah.
And last but not least, a new contest with local venue in town, The Factory. Big shout out to The Factory because I think they're the ones that kind of helped make this happen. A podcast you might know, My Brother and Me, is coming to The Factory in the St. Louis greater area in Chesterfield on June 22nd, and you could win 2 tickets. Scotty Soup's going to be there.
Can't wait.
It's going to be so fun. And Scotty, you're a fan of My Brother and Me, but I'm going to go to Jenna because I saw you nodding. Jenna, do you know this podcast?
I do. The McElroy family has provided me with so many hours of entertainment. They do a lot of YouTube stuff. They do multiple podcasts. I've seen a couple of their live shows. So as soon as I saw this in the rundown, I was like, that's awesome. So I'm happy that you're giving that away to somebody.
Yeah, we're going to share that experience. I'm a newbie to the podcast, so I'm getting to know it. But Scotty, talk about it.
Yeah, I love it. I think just the other day I listened to an episode. They give advice. Crazy advice, but advice. Someone wrote in and wanted to know what should they do with too many carrots. She works at a school.
Someone's got the problem. They need it.
She's got a guinea pig in the classroom, and the people from the lunchroom were giving them carrots. And she's got too many, and she doesn't want to waste them.
Oh, my gosh.
What do I do with all these carrots? And craziness ensues.
I mean, of all the stories
really
to
bad
share,
advice.
Yeah, I mean, of all the stories to share, you really hit the carrot people demographic.
I'm sure.
Is that supposed to convince me?
I'm sure she could corroborate. This is what the show is
all right,
about.
Jenna, convince me to check this out.
Yeah. And it's even wilder. The one clip that I always share with people to kind of get an idea of what the podcast is it was from years and years ago. Somebody, they took like a Yahoo Answers question that somebody had, and they like riffed on this for maybe 15 minutes. And it was, what would the show Quantum Leap have been like if Scott Bakula was replaced by a horse? And they're riffing on that was iconic. So yeah, they do that. They cover like fast food news. They answer advice. They answer Yahoo Answers advice. Like it runs the gambit of just weird stuff. But yeah,
we couldn't have promised you a better plug than that. My brother, and me, June 22nd at the factory. Enter to win at mostlysuperheroes.com/contests. With that, news and rumors. Keeping it real light in news and rumors today, and actually it's just going to be kind of a tease. We got a big movie coming up, and it's Deadpool Wolverine. I'm saving this for the meat. That's what we call our big feature, Jenna. So the meat is our big our segment where we kind of spend most of our time. And I want to talk about Deadpool Wolverine, prepare for the movie, and actually talk about the larger MCU, a little overall, like why not while you're here. And don't worry, we'll still scratch that variety itch in our segment of what you sharing. And so news and rumors today is really just getting ready for our screen and social. We are going to be seeing this movie. There'll be a way to see this with the Mostly Superheroes crew. We'll do the same stuff as last year, give away some money to charity, sell some tickets. It'll be at a cool venue, a cool movie theater. Details still coming together. And my headline for you right now is do not wait to get your tickets to this movie. See it when you can. Pick your theater. See it early so that maybe by the time you see it with us, you're seeing it again. I'll certainly be seeing it again by that point. We'll have seen it probably a couple times.
Absolutely.
So if you're waiting on us, don't go see it, but keep your eye out at mostlysuperheroes.com for more details on the screen and social. You can check out the newsletter as well. We have a May issue and a June issue coming at you pretty soon. You can sponsor that at mostlysuperheroes.com/newsletter. Next up, the most fun segment of the day, second to the meat, but they're going to be pretty even. Here we go. Let's nerd out. What you sharing? As always, and for Jenna for the first time, we always speak to two audiences. I don't know anything about this at all, and I address that pretty quickly with a spoiler-free what is it. And if you're going to give any spoilers, we ask for that spoiler alert. You can absolutely get into spoilers for your own thing. Just give that spoiler alert. With this one, I don't think there's much spoilers other than this guy's hilarious. Andy, let's start with you. You saw Tim Robinson in San Diego. How was the show?
Amazing. Special guests. Never before seen sketches, as it says in that graphic there. But honestly, I laughed for an hour straight. Like it was
and
everything
Jenna,
I could ever want from a Tim Robinson show.
Yes, and I want to pair it right with you, Jenna, because you just saw him in Chicago.
I did, yeah. I have been a huge fan of I Think You Should Leave, which is Tim's show, which the live tour was kind of based around. And it was one of those things where it was like, I could have imagined them doing a live show, but now having seen it, it's like I would go watch this once a year, twice a year if I had to. Like it is so much fun. The special guests change every show. Just seeing the sketches in a crowd of people when I'm so used to just watching them on my couch and just laughing hysterically, it was just an unparalleled experience.
And thanks for that, Jenna. And sorry to stomp all over Andy, but Andy knows he gets to talk about this guy all the time on the podcast. It's his favorite show. And we have a huge episode coming up that is only about I Think You Should Leave. Mm-hmm. So, we'll probably actually pull some of your love for it into that episode from this one. And then he's got a new show coming out on HBO called like the Chair Company. Mm-hmm. And
of course,
do you guys know about this? Who can anybody talk about this? Jenna, maybe you know more than us?
I know because he and his writing partner had been developing stuff for HBO for like the past couple of years, and then they just got one that was ordered to series. And I do think it's called The Chair or The Chair Company or something like that. And it sounds very much like Severance meets I Think You Should Leave, of like there's some weird conspiracy going on
Severance
in an office. So which if you've seen I Think You Should Leave the show, there are many sketches that are set in an office where something goes catastrophically hilariously wrong.
Yes.
So I'm very excited.
Yes, I'm here for the Tim Robinson cinematic universe. Bring it on. And
do you have any questions and or just fanboy thoughts for Tim Robinson while we're on the card right now, Giggler? What do you got?
For Jenna about
yeah,
Tim?
Go for it.
Yeah, I would love to hear, maybe just give us your top 3 favorite skits.
Oh my gosh.
You don't even have to rank them. Just give us 3 of your favorites.
What's coming to mind?
We did a ranking at Comic Book before season 3, and it was like picking a favorite child. It was so difficult because it changes every single day. But for me, like the ones that I have the most visceral reactions to, Baby of the Year, when I showed that to my fiance, like solidified for both of us that it was an amazing show. Focus Group is also such a good sketch. And oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on like every other sketch right
It's
now.
okay.
But
I do the same thing, and mine also changes every day. It's a show that I quote every single day.
Shout them out. What's your reasons?
Definitely like any skit involving a hot dog. So
the hot. I think the hot dog car.
Yeah.
Into the shop is one of my favorites.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. When he chokes on the hot dog, that's in the top 3. Focus group is 100%.
So we
there as well.
So we have his new show to look forward to on HBO. I Think You Should Leave. They're still making shows. Is that right? Still making seasons?
They haven't been renewed for season 4, but I think the comedy tour sold out immediately. So people definitely have high hopes that they're going to come back. They're, at very least, the sketches that they showed during the live show have never been released to the public, like outside of screening them at those live shows. So like they could do a bonus episode maybe of all of those, hopefully.
Yeah. Or just release a live show as a Netflix special.
Well,
do that, and there would be so many viewers.
Plenty of places to catch Tim Robinson. He's out there on Netflix. He's HBO. He's got a tour. Jenna and Andy are living the dream, and maybe me and Scotty are fans to become, because we're still kind of like, oh, we're watching from the sideline, but I've watched some shows, and for this episode, I'm going to watch every episode for you and get right into the mood, so we'll do it.
You won't be disappointed.
All right, next up, we have a comic book.
Yeah, that's a comic book.
Comic book, Scotty Scoop.
White Boat by the great Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla. I'm really interested in this new distillery brand, creator owned. They are like extra large, magazine style, no ads, just beautiful work. Scott Snyder. I first got onto Scott Snyder with American Vampire. I think that was around like 2009, 2010. And it's famous Batman run. Just wonderful. The artwork is great. There's a white boat, giant boat. And this guy gets invited onto it. He lost his little brother, or not his little brother, might have been a twin brother. As a child, on the water. He lives on an island. This is like 20 years later. Gave me very, very Lovecraftian vibes on this. Some sort of like elder god kind of magic going on here.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the first issue. Only one issue out so far. New brand. I think maybe September or August or something they started last year.
Are you asking Jenna?
I'm just. I'm
me
guessing.
and Scott, me and Andy don't know.
I'm
Sure
guessing.
don't.
I don't know the exact date, but they have been around for a while. Like this might be like their 3rd or 4th original series at this point.
Yeah.
And for the listener, I mean, you said a giant white boat, and then this thing's going into a Godzilla-sized kaiju on the tip of its tongue. This is epic artwork. Have you read the entire first issue?
I read the first issue. It is great. Mystery. You don't really know what's going on. You're just kind of getting the lay of the land. And I think there's only going to be like 3 issues of this. So they're going to pick up business pretty quickly, I think.
What would you rate the first issue on the 4.0 scale?
I would give it probably a 3.6. The artwork is beautiful.
Jenna, have you read it, and do you have thoughts?
I have not read it yet. A lot of the distillery books I've been waiting until they're all collected in trade, and then I'm going to pick them up because I know like it'll definitely be a nice fancy hardcover that we can have on our shelf. But I love this creative team so much, and like just hearing you describe the concept, I'm like, I'm definitely in.
There you go. You got your review, White Boat by Distillery. Grab it at your comic book shop.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
All right, we're going to talk about a lot of comic books. This one's new to me. Was it new to you, Scotty?
Yeah, I've not heard of this one.
Jenna, tell us about Local Man.
Oh my gosh. So I have been reviewing this series for at least a year at this point. This is from Image, and it's from Tim Seeley and Tony Fleece. I have met them both. I actually met them at the most recent C2E2 convention in Chicago and talked to them about this book. So basically, they both share writing and art duties on it. A lot of times there's a backup story that is like almost a flip book, which is really cool. And the premise of it is the main character is a 90s very Image Liefeld X-Men type of superhero who is washed up, had all of these bad things happen, and now he's returning back to his extremely small rural hometown and trying to balance rebranding himself as a superhero and also dealing with like this massive criminal conspiracy that is happening in his small town.
Beautiful. And what have you read out of the series? What's out there for people?
They're on at least like 12-ish issues at this point, and they've done 2 annuals, and I've read and reviewed every single one for Comic Book.
This is awesome. You're giving our fans an inside scoop. Where can they find your reviews, like to check out what you think of these each one, so they can go back?
Just search for our just our comic reviews. We have like a massive document each week with everything that is published in a particular week. So if you just search Local Man within those, like, you should be able to find it
At comicbook.com. Very cool. Yeah, Scotty, what are you thinking? Any questions?
Well, that looks great. I'm a huge fan of Liefeld, so the artwork looks great.
Scott or Andy?
Yeah, I agree. This looks awesome. Especially that middle one. Looks like a Spider-Man look for sure.
That's an homage for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll try to make you do something you haven't done yet that would be like new for you. We have a 4.0 scale. It's like a college GPA. 0.0.0 would be the worst unwatchable movie. A 4.0 is the best rewatchable movie, or any kind of medium story. Where would you rate this on our 4.0 scale if you would do us the honors?
Gosh, another scale ranking, because as listeners of our podcast know, we are very contentious about the scale ranking. I would say like a 3.7. I have loved like almost every individual issue I have given like as high of a score as I possibly can. Like they very rarely miss on this series. And it's also, as much as it is in the Liefeldian kind of style, it's both an homage and kind of a takedown of the style at the same time. Like, it is made with so much love. There's a lot of very wild cameos if you were an Image fan in like the 90s and 2000s. So it's just like there's so much in every single issue that like I'm just blown away every single time.
Beautiful. We call that a fair share. All right, cool. Local Man, get it, read it, check it out, and go check out Jenna's reviews at comicbook.com. And now, a break. Hey squad, Logan here from Mostly Superheroes, wanting to talk to you today about some real-life heroes. Team Jakey, headquartered here in St. Louis, Missouri. They're turning the tragedy of losing their beloved Jake Zeller into life-changing action. Not just by making a difference, but by saving lives. Team Jakey supports both the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Provident Behavioral Health here in St. Louis. Join us at their annual Gentleman Jake Memorial Cornhole Tournament. It's more than just a game. It's a community coming together to lift each other up with some of the world's best prizes. If you're feeling down or know someone who is, Team Jakey's here with a message of hope. Reach out by calling 988. You can also visit www.afsp.org or text TALK to 741-741. You're not alone, and there's always a way forward. Someone's waiting for your call or text message. Search for Team Jakey on Facebook and learn more at www.mostlysuperheroes.com/give. Every bit helps, and together, we can make a difference. All right, back to the show. Scotty, I know that you've been deep into Blood Hunt. Where are you? What's out there? How's it going?
Well, Blood Hunt is a Marvel event, so buckle up. If you want to know everything, I think I counted there's going to be around 50 total issues of Blood Hunt, only 5 in the main story, with 8 limited series, 6 one-shots, and 7 series tie-ins. Okay. I have read Blood Hunt number 1 and 2.
How's it going so far?
That's it.
And general synopsis in a sentence is you've told me before, so I'm challenging you to do it now.
So there is a dark force in the Marvel universe, and if you know, like Cloak and Dagger, Cloak has the cloak, it enters into the dark force. Well, some dark force users have been hijacked in some way, and they have blotted out the sun, and that has brought in the vampires. The vampires are taking over the Marvel universe. You can see this new team here: Bloodstorm 1, Megrum, Cruel, some other characters, and they're going for the throat here. No pun intended.
But they are, and it's basically Vampire City. Every Marvel character, there's gonna be so many stories.
Everyone's on the table here.
You're 2 in, and you're gonna keep reading.
Yeah, Dracula, of course, Blade, the Avengers, Wolverine, everybody, and they're not pulling any punches.
Okay, and in the spirit of keeping it going, Jenna, aware thoughts.
I am aware. I have not read it yet because, as he mentioned, there are so many tie-ins. This is such an undertaking to even keep up with this event. So I was kind of waiting to bank a little bit of it before I got in. My question is, have you read kind of the main versions of issue 1 and 2, or the red band ones? Because I know they've released those.
So I
and
got
that's been a
the
whole
I
point
got
of
the red
contention.
band of issue 1, and my comic book guy Jason, I guess he did not anticipate the fervor for the red band issue, so I did not get a red band issue number 2. I did look in between the two, and I will say the red band is quite a bit more gory. Lots of blood.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts, Scotty Scoop, on Blood Hunt?
I'm interested. I don't know that I'm interested enough to get every tie-in, every limited series. I might just listen to the recommendations of my guy and say, hey, you need to read this one, you need to read that one. And I'll definitely get the 5 main issues.
You're just gonna
to get the overarching story.
Yeah.
Maybe look for some online reviews.
You're just gonna like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I mean,
high level.
I don't know if you're watching every episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but like if you're gonna rewatch it and you've already seen it, you might just pull out some hits. I don't know. Jenna, are you a fan of that show? You guys
I am. One of my co-hosts on Phase Zero is a massive Agents of Shields fan. Like, she co-hosts a whole separate podcast about it. So I have been kind of dipping back in and rewatching some of it. And yeah, I definitely don't disagree. Like, there is value in like just picking a certain arc or a certain episode of that show.
Beautiful, and we'll have to check that out because I've been hovering over that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. card a little bit on Disney Plus. So I have sometimes I've got the instincts of like, and I bet if there's a whole podcast about the show, it's definitely coming back. All right, guys. Next one, we have comic books. This is for you, Jenna. Tell us about the Sensational She-Hulk.
Yeah, so for those of you who listened to my recommendations on the earlier episode, I'm a massive She-Hulk fan. The back half of 2022, when the show was premiering on Disney Plus, was like one of my favorite eras in this industry. Like, it was so much fun to cover. And so She-Hulk has been the comic that launched kind of in conjunction with the TV show. Originally, it was just called She-Hulk, with Rainbow Rowell, who has written Runaways and has also written a ton of YA novels that are massively successful. So she's been writing it for about a year and a half now, and it just recently rebranded to Sensational She-Hulk. But it's kind of something you can jump into without the prior story. It also kind of picks up some threads, but it's just so much fun. It like has a ton of cameos. It has a ton of romance, which is just a huge part of who Jen is, and a lot of the Hulk lore of like her dealing with Bruce and dealing with the larger Hulk family.
And this is a series that's going on and happening actively, so it's a great time to get into it. Scotty, are you reading?
I'm not reading this.
You're a She-Hulk fan.
I am a She-Hulk fan. I loved the show.
Big fan.
I've got a couple of She-Hulk, older She-Hulk runs. Always been a fan. I might have to check this out.
What about you?
Not familiar with
I haven't
Roll
read
at
these,
all.
but I'm ready for a live action She-Hulk ASAP. That needs to happen.
And yeah, might as well ask
again as back into the MCU. I mean,
where are we at, Jenna? They're gonna be season 2. What's your current take after the last couple of years?
I kind of resigned myself to the fact that like there wouldn't be a season 2 right away, and it definitely seems like as they have kind of reconfigured how they do their television, they're kind of just getting the projects that they've already had on the horizon to come out first. I'm never ruling it out. I definitely think we're going to see her at some point in this universe, but I'm just happy we got the episodes that we did.
I was gonna say, you're breaking my heart as like this great fan that like is like, I'm not gonna get my hopes up about this, but there are, once the first season happens, anything could happen, but you're keeping that in check, and I'm like that with everything I love, so I totally get it. All right, we'll keep it moving. We have Space Ghost. Oh my gosh, I mean, this looks epic. This is a comeback. Scotty Scoop, tell us about Space Ghost. Wasn't this a cartoon on TV?
Yeah, it's a couple of times actually. Space Ghost, the original was in like '66. And then it came back under a different name, Space Stars, in like 1980, which is the one I probably watched. I remember. I watched the classics too. And then the one most people know nowadays is Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Okay.
On Cartoon Network.
That's what I've seen.
Where he like sits at the desk and,
yes.
He's talking to the guests and stuff. But this is not your dad's work friend's Space Ghost. This is definitely DC went for it not too long ago, maybe about 10 years ago. But this is Dynamite has gotten the license for Space Ghost and a lot of those Hanna-Barbera cartoons, I believe. And this is only the second one. They've started with Thundercats. I haven't picked that up, but there's a special place in my heart for Space Ghost. He's basically a vigilante space cop.
Looks
He's
epic.
He's out there doing it. The artwork, gorgeous.
How many issues and what have you read?
One issue.
You read it?
Yeah.
What do you rate it?
It's only been one so far. I'd give it a 3. I'm intrigued. I'd
Okay.
like to see where it goes.
Oh man, sometimes we ding ratings because we want more. I feel like that happens
Yeah,
sometimes.
well,
You're like I just want more.
They got to give you kind of an origin, and they don't even really get to much Space Ghost in this one.
Okay.
You know, it's really Jace and Jan, who are the two kids that, kind of sidekicks in the original show.
Okay. Jenna?
So I love Space Ghost dearly. Alex Toth, who originally designed the Space Ghost character, I'm like an evangelist for his work. Like I love everything that he has done in like animation and comics and all of that. So I was so excited when they relaunched this. I interviewed David Pepose, who is the author of this new run, so you can check that out over at Comic Book. We had a really nice chat about that. But yeah, to his point, it is a very good just first issue. It really leans into just kind of the kids and how they get into Space Ghost care, but still tease so much more. And like, even if you are a fan of Coast to Coast, like you get to see Brack, you get to see these elements of the show, but in this like completely different context from what you're used to.
Beautiful. Andy, you picking this up?
This looks awesome. I may.
Yeah, I might too. This is really grabbing me. Like, I'm a big fan of characters such as the Silver Surfer. Like, I'm a big fan of cosmic, things going down. And this cover screams like cosmic.
Oh, so many covers.
Awesome.
I can't tell you how many covers they're putting out nowadays.
Oh, really?
Oh,
just like the variants?
Variants.
Yeah,
so
all
many
day.
variants.
All right, we'll keep it moving. Next up, another comic book, DC Town, Birds of Prey. Jenna?
So this is my favorite comic on stands right now, like full stop. I am a massive Birds of Prey fan. I'm a massive Black Canary fan. This series first got announced almost exactly a year ago, and they rolled out the roster of the characters that were going to be on it literally like each day. Like you could check Twitter each day, and Kelly Thompson, who is the writer, would share a new character. And their goal was kind of to put together a roster of the team that people hadn't really seen before, because there's been so many different incarnations of the birds over the years. And so you get Black Canary at the center of it. You get Big Barda, who's been on the team occasionally here and there. You get Cassandra Cain, who is also kind of the same way. You get Harley Quinn for the synergy with the movie. And then you get Zealot, who has not been on the team really ever. And the first arc, I don't want to get into spoilers, but it is absolutely incredible. Like every single issue is so dense. It is so character driven and just so entertaining. Like I am obsessed.
I mean, we don't give out these applauses like nothing. So if it's your favorite thing on the stands, people got to check this out, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I'm about to pick it up right now. I'm a huge DC fan. Like, these characters are fun to me. I feel like you said it. Like, I have this image of what the Birds of Prey are, and then seeing these covers, I'm like, I have no idea what they are. This is a book that I could just pick up and not really know what to expect. Scotty Scoop, what you got on this one?
It looks great. I currently don't have any DC books on my pull list, but I think I might check this one out. But no Huntress?
So there's a reason why Batgirl and Huntress are not on the book originally.
Okay.
They've really gotten into why Barbara, Batgirl, Oracle isn't really on the book to begin with. She's now in the second arc that is currently ongoing. They'll get to Huntress at some point, but for the time being, they explain in canon why Huntress isn't there yet.
Awesome. All right, that's all I need.
All right, I'm going to keep it going, and we are watching Invincible. How about you, Jenna?
I have only seen the first couple episodes of the first season. This is a show I've been meaning to catch up on. I have heard so many great things. I do love the clip of the bit that they have from the comics of how hard it is to draw comics, how they translated that into animation. I love. So this is definitely on my list to catch up on.
Beautiful, and we're going to keep it moving. The Boys on Prime too, so the gory superhero stuff. Now you got the Invincible, now you got the live action on this side, season 4. Are you excited? You like the show?
I've only seen a couple episodes here and there, but I did love the comic. And again, this is another thing that it is on my list to catch up sooner than later.
And I want you to know, I apologize for the leading questions. I love these two shows. I love them so much, so definitely it sounds great. You're keep catching up. We can't wait to hear what you think. And then Furiosa, did you see it early? And could you give some instant thoughts on it if you did?
So I did not see it early. I
Okay.
saw it opening weekend because it just opened this previous weekend. I loved it. I am a huge Fury Road fan. I almost kind of had to register as I was watching it that like no movie is going to be exactly like Fury Road because that really was just lightning in a bottle. But I think it is such a different movie in such a fundamentally interesting way, and just being back in the aesthetic and the car chases and everything that George Miller does is fun enough. And then Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth are just so fun to watch. So I definitely recommend it.
Beautiful. Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. None of us have seen it yet, but
I
I'm
haven't
pumped
seen
to.
it yet. I wanted to see it last weekend. I didn't get a chance.
Yep, I had a show. I had a concert the same night. We had the opportunity to go to a screening, and I almost just replied yes, and I was like, check the calendar, and I had something.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see this thing in theaters. It's going to be in theaters probably for a minute.
Well, boy, I hope so, because it's not doing well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it.
No, it's doing all right. I saw it yesterday. Also, to correct you.
No.
Remember? I think maybe I didn't invite you guys. Whatever. Me and Steph saw it yesterday after lunch.
I'm sitting here saying none of us have seen it. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I actually watched Fury Road for the first time as well. I've been kind of sleeping on Mad Max overall, so I did just a back to back. So this definitely feels like it's a little bit slower than Fury Road. That was kind of my biggest drawing point. It just was like pedal to the metal the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, if you enjoyed the first one, you'll enjoy this. Like I'm gonna go back and rewatch kind of the Mel Gibsons because I haven't really seen those since I was a kid. But definitely, like Jenna said, the leads in this did amazing. They're worth the price of admission in itself.
Big names. Chris Hemsworth is unrecognizable. Can't wait.
He really is. The whole movie, like halfway through, I was like, you have to keep reminding yourself that that's him.
All right, X-Men 97 was my favorite show of the year so far. Super loved it. We have done an episode on it. We've done some good recaps, and we're going to keep talking about the show. We've talked about a recap. We did the cameos. We did the finale and end credits. What did you think of X-Men 97 overall? And I know we emailed a little bit about looking forward to what they might do next. So it's your time to talk X-Men 97.
I thought this show was absolutely outstanding. I was lucky enough to have already watched the original series over COVID. And so I already went in with the preconceived notions of what the show did the first time. And so having the ability to just be able to enjoy it as its own thing and also as nostalgia for the original series was just so much fun. And just being on a weekly podcast that talks about Marvel, talks about the MCU, seeing the fervor around the show, like it is infectious how much people have loved this show. And that is just so much fun. And I feel like something that has not necessarily been a constant with some of the Marvel projects that have come out in the past couple of years. So I'm so thankful for that. And just purely as a comic fan, like getting Madeline Pryor, getting all of the storylines that we managed to get this season, I was just astonished at how much they were able to do in 10 episodes, because I have been so used to other superhero TV that did half as much in twice the amount of time. So.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
Not a
yeah.
lie.
Yeah, it was big moments, tons of big moments. It's like Scotty said, they went through years of comic books. It felt like in just the one series, and perfectly done. We the writing I think was just so grand. The stories did move quick. A lot of good punches. Okay, so favorite cameos? Anything that really clung to you as a fan?
The Peter Parker, MJ, and Flash Thompson in the finale, I was very happy to notice those. We stayed up until like 3 a.m. to watch the episode live and immediately podcast after. So I was just sitting silently in my living room, like pointing at the TV, like, oh my gosh. But honestly, like every cameo, they did such a good job of introducing these characters and not having them really distract from the story at hand. So I was just amazed that they were able to do that. And I hope that more superhero media can kind of like take that philosophy going forward.
And we've talked about this show on the podcast already. Spoiler alert for the show at this point right now. We got some time travel, multiple apocalypse. The team is split up. We got multiple teams going on. What are your big predictions / hopes for season 2?
I have no idea how the time travel, the dual timeline stuff is really going to start. I have a trade paperback that it's like literally Cyclops and Phoenix, and it's a solo series that seems to be kind of perfectly tied to what they set up in the finale. So I'm definitely going to dust that off before season 2. I'm also just personally curious to see how the rest of the X-Men on Earth in the present day kind of deal with this team's absence. I wrote a piece for Comic Book about how maybe this is how we get Generation X and we really lean into the 90s of it all, or maybe we get some other sort of teams or something. So I am just excited by all of the possibilities.
All right, and then again, thank you for that fair share. That's beautiful. I can't wait for more of this show. Season 2 can't get here soon enough. But yeah. I just saw, we're reading all the stuff of the coverage. You're covering it great, Jenna. Your articles, just on the overall comic book realm coverage has been awesome. Comicbook.com in particular on X-Men 97 was so great, and hearing from Brad Wonderbaum and the creators of the show, and really getting to hear that really seeing how the bread is made, essentially, and. This season 2's in motion. They're saying we're not going to mess it up. We're going to finish it just like we finished season 1. I'm all for that. The meat. Hope you're not a vegan. This. I didn't think about that 5 years ago when we did it. Deadpool Wolverine is coming out in July. We did a what to watch before. It was really more of a joke. Just Fox is here. Disney is owning it all. This is a culmination of things. Deadpool coming into the MCU. I want to ask first, part 2 again, what's your anticipation like for Deadpool and Wolverine right now? What are you looking forward to / expecting?
I'm very, very excited for this movie. Not as excited as some of my co-hosts and some other people at Comic Book, because I also I don't know. I feel like a lot of the discourse has just surrounded the cameos and around the possibilities of the movie. And I'm just kind of tempering my expectations and just going to enjoy it for what it is. But I have loved the trailers so far. I've loved the TV spots so far. I think just focusing on the dynamic between the two of them has really, really succeeded so far. So even just seeing the two of them pal around in these costumes for an entire movie, like, I'm very happy. And we get Cassandra Nova, which is just awesome in and of itself.
Well put, well said. Yeah, Cameo City, the chemistry between them is going to be huge. I think a big villain, a good villain, will really help keep the movie on track. So we'll see if they do something like that. Bigger stakes question. You are on the Phase Zero, an MCU podcast. Here they come into the MCU. Everything is together. The Fox properties are here. Hugh Jackman is back. And Deadpool is MCU. It's a big question. We have a big MCU episode coming up where we're going to we basically do the same thing for every episode. We process something as a fan and we regurgitate it as a resource to our fans that tune into our podcast, because we believe every fan should be able to know how to pick up this stuff. Especially if you're a newcomer to the MCU, it's so intimidating. What is your take on the future of the MCU? Say just for the next year or two. I've heard things about Kang Dynasty changing titles, but the production on the movie might be starting. Where does your head go with these movies and TV shows overall? Where are you at with the MCU in present day time?
That is a massive question.
It is.
And one that we have debated about at length on our show. I think that Deadpool will be a really interesting kind of flashpoint. And I think they'll hopefully have enough time to be able to register how that movie succeeds and what people really respond to, and take that into account before Secret Wars. Because I know since even before Secret Wars was officially announced, people built up the movie in their heads of like, oh, it's going to be Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire and all of these people just hanging out. And it's like a photoshopped facsimile, but not necessarily a movie with an actual story. So I hope that they're able to kind of use this time to their advantage, and it seems like they are. I'm really excited for every single project that we're getting in the foreseeable future. The Fantastic Four has the potential to be absolutely incredible, just based on the information and the casting and the first looks that we've gotten already. So I have hope that they're using this time really to their advantage.
Do you feel like with them these proximity, the proximity so close, X-Men 97 having an impact on the style of the MCU overall, design wise?
Maybe not like aesthetically, but I definitely think they're going to, my hope is that they will be able to see what people are responding to, even just like the amount of melodrama that is in 97, and comparing that to the fact that a lot of the MCU movies haven't really had romantic relationships or a lot of the like interpersonal drama. I think that they're hopefully going to be able to kind of take all of that into account and use it to their advantage.
Beautiful. Last call. Questions for Jenna. Scotty Scoop.
Do you think this is going to be the biggest movie of the year?
I think it'll be up there. I'm at the point, the whole box office discourse is so fascinating. Like you mentioned it a little bit with Furiosa, of how people are already saying that the movie is dead on arrival, and it's been in theaters for 4 or 5 days at this point.
Yeah.
Like it sucks that even though we are so far removed from the pre-COVID era where so many movies made $1 billion and that was the new gold standard, people are still so quick to judge a box office. So like I think Deadpool is definitely going to do well. I think the pre-sale tickets are very reflective of that, of like theaters are already selling out and it's breaking records and stuff. I also think having those tickets be available 2 months out was a really smart move, because now anytime anyone sees a TV spot or a trailer, they can immediately go buy a ticket. I don't know if it'll be the biggest movie of the year, but it will definitely be up there.
Last call, Giggler.
Got it. I want to hear some comics that I need to read to prepare for this. Obviously, we have lots of movies, but I'd love to read some comics that have these two crazy dudes on it.
Well, not even so much the two of them. I would recommend just reading up on Cassandra Nova, because she is such a fascinating, weird character. Like, I talk about it at any given opportunity. There is a comics like panel sequence of her introduction that I desperately need in this movie, because I feel like Deadpool is one of the few franchises that could do it. They explain how Cassandra Nova is Charles Xavier's twin sister and all of the weird stuff with that, and they show the two of them as babies like punching each other and using their superpowers in the movie. So you can read Grant Morrison's X-Men and kind of get an idea of who Cassandra Nova is and like why she's going to be so formidable in the movie.
Great question, Giggler. Great answer, Jenna. That's the nugget that we try to find for our listeners. What can help them out a little bit going into this? I said 3 more things. I guess it was more like 6. I wanted this podcast to kind of feel like your work life. It's a mix of everything. You're all over the place. So, you're at comicbook.com writing. You're on the Phase Zero MCU podcast. I have last 2-parter, and then we will let you go. 1, what are you working on the most that you are having the most fun in right now that you could plug, on this podcast? What's getting you most excited when it comes to your work life? Because it seems like you're living a cool work life to me from looking from the outside in, but I wanted to ask you directly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely Phase Zero. I think covering X-Men on the show has been so much fun. We've really, really enjoyed doing that. And we have some really good stuff planned on the horizon with Deadpool and San Diego Comic-Con and all of these other things. So it's just a lot of fun. And luckily there is so much stuff to talk about in the Marvel world every single week that we never run out of conversation topics.
Awesome. I love the Phase Zero podcast. Scotty was saying we're going to start getting into that a lot more. I always say indie podcasts like us that are, we really get to take the time and focus in on individual stories, because you guys and comicbook.com, again, the coverage is so good. I know that my emails are going to update me for the day, and I'm always watching for your name. So my question is, what advice would you give to someone out there that is in the thick of their life and just looking for any kind of advice from any person that even has it remotely together? Because we all might even look like we have it together, right? We probably feel like we don't, but I usually like to remind our guests that we have on here, we handpick our invites. We're impressed. So Jenna Anderson, standing on your own feet, what advice would you give to somebody if they had 1 minute and they said, what do you got?
Oh my gosh, I'm honored. Thank you. I just follow your passions, because you will never know where it will lead you, honestly. I did not expect this to be the industry that I ultimately ended up being in. I went to film school. I was fully prepared to graduate film school and just go into making short films or working for a local TV station or something. And this opportunity fell into my lap at exactly the perfect time and changed the course of my life. So just follow your passions, trust your gut instinct of what makes you the most excited and what you most want to do, and just follow that. But also at the same time, don't let it become your entire life. Still find hobbies and interests that have absolutely nothing to do with work, so that way when you are off the clock, you can still kind of rest a little bit.
Well, I'll sneak it in there. What do you do for rest? What's your downtime?
I'm a huge crafter. I love doing craft projects and stuff. I listen to a lot of podcasts too, but they're not about anything that is even remotely in this industry, of just stuff about old Hollywood and history and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll just crochet or paint or work on something else. And it's nice to be able to shift gears after doing what I'm doing for so long.
Well, we've been honored to take your time, and this is what we call the fire hydrant, right? Where we just get to know you, and it's just everything, and we just really get into it. We're going to be in this world forever. It seems like you're in this world. We'd love to talk to you again someday. We'll be listening and watching you guys on Phase Zero on the podcast, your live stuff. You can check out Hey, It's Jenna Lynn, right? Instagram. Mm-hmm. Find her at comicbook.com. Anything else you want to plug before we say our final goodbyes?
No, that was as comprehensive as I could have been. So good job.
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Really nerding out. For me, I've been following comic book as just a fan, mm-hmm. So you and Brandon and Chris, like all you guys are celebrities. Me, Adam, like all you guys are awesome. So we'll talk to you.
I appreciate that.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. All right, y'all have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you
Have a great night.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Stuff. Oh.
Coming up, that was a great interview with Jenna Anderson. Thank you so much. And we're going to give you a preview now of what's coming up on the podcast. Man, how fun was that, though, with Jenna?
She's awesome.
I mean, after she told me film school, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, she really knows what she's talking about.
She is in it. She knows it. What'd you think?
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. I mean, she's so successful at what she does, and that now we can see why.
Yeah.
All right, and then Scotty brought in birthday gift for me. So
Yeah,
I guess I'll give it up for me.
Not going to see you next week on your birthday, so, you know.
I asked him, I was like, is this Shanna or you? He's like, it's me. I was like, you're too good at this. Like, I was like, I'm not as good at, like, getting people gifts.
You know, sometimes
this feels like a real gift.
I didn't even know your birthday was coming up.
It's
so
next
happy
week.
birthday, bro.
It's next week. All right.
I that's probably been in my basement for, I don't know, 6 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, I see something, and I'm like, oh,
I get it.
perfect.
When you think, like, when you think of it.
Yeah.
Right when I see it.
All right,
you
should
know?
I rip in?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's beautiful video game wrapping paper. And I don't have a single video game except for a Super Nintendo. So already off to a rough start.
Shout out to Mondo. Got
Mondo?
this gift from Mondo.
All right, Waltz Recording Co. This is all right. I gotta rip it. Oh my. Uh-oh. Superman 78.
Oh.
Oh my. Are these vinyl records?
Those are vinyl records.
High five, man.
And
Superman-
a graphic novel.
So we have. All right, wait.
Now I know why.
It came with a special edition.
So are these the same? Like Superman 78 is a graphic novel.
Yes,
And then they have Superman the movie, the vinyl,
soundtrack,
the soundtrack,
yes.
which is beautiful.
On some sort of I think it's white with red and blue flakes.
And Giggler got me Superman 78 at Apotheosis one day, so now I got like the whole freaking package.
There you go.
Thanks, Scotty.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Hey, you know I have Superman 3 on vinyl.
Really?
Yeah, and he's got Richard Pryor in his arms.
yes.
Dude, this looks epic. Thank you so much. And what'd you say you got me, Andy?
You'll find out next week.
I'm gonna be on vacation next week.
I'll drop it. And
But don't worry, if you're
Come out.
listening to the podcast, you're gonna get some stuff. We'll have some stuff coming out. Okay, so speaking of which, thank you, Scotty.
Yeah.
I'm turning 35. I can run for president.
35.
Fine.
Are you a
Dude.
citizen?
I'm a citizen.
Okay.
And I could.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
What are you? Am I gonna have to cut this?
Of course I'm a citizen.
Mount my MFTV. It's booked. Maurice is coming in. Giggler.
yeah, buddy, just get your TVs mounted.
The Boys.
Coming up, like 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Season premiere.
June.
Been a lot of news about Daredevil Born Again. We already talked about Tim Robinson. We talked about Deadpool and Wolverine a lot with Jenna. That was so fun. And go get some merch. Go subscribe on Patreon and on Twitch and TikTok and Twitter and all of it at mostlysuperheroes.com. Jenna asked us where we were. I said it. We're pretty ubiquitous.
Everywhere.
If you
Even
look,
Trovo.
if you look for Mostly Superheroes, really, if you just search Mostly Superheroes podcast anywhere online, I promise you'll find us. Let's do final thoughts, Giggler. How was your night? What was your favorite thing we talked about?
Definitely. I'm so jacked up for Deadpool Wolverine. Like it's something I think about on a daily basis now, and that's going to continue for another month and a half. So
Yes, sir.
2 months about. So we'll cover it. I think we're going to talk about Deadpool 1 and 2 with Maurice Mount My TV in a couple weeks. So that'll be a good preview episode for people that are trying to refresh themselves on those movies, because I know I will be.
Great plug. Yeah, get ready. We'll do it. We're going to do a Deadpool 1 and 2 for sure. We'll reference that mega list of movies we said you had to watch, which you don't really have to. If you
you don't have to.
if you really had to watch something, Deadpool's, and I definitely watched Logan. And I definitely watched Loki.
Yeah,
Like
and
with-
probably the X-Men movies.
I'm just saying, like, I know, like but it's those three for sure. Like,
Yeah.
those are going to be a big part of this story, but we'll definitely talk about the Deadpool movies, other stuff. We'll probably do a little, like, what else would we watch? Why would we watch it? And we'll make some cameo call-outs, too. Scotty Scoop, what you got? What you looking forward to?
It's a great episode. Let's see. Friday, Good Mythical Tour. Rhett and Link. I think it's at the Fox.
Wonderful venue. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
It'll be a good time.
That'll be good. I'll be around this weekend, but then next week, Carrie and I are going to take a few days of R&R. Not a ton. It's not even worth mentioning. It's like we're going to be gone, we're going to be back, but then we'll have some time off at home, which I think is like a good strategy for a vacation.
Absolutely.
You get like a few days out, a few days home. the Blood Hunt stuff, I would have never imagined that there were, 50 some odd issues that are going to come out of it.
So many, dude. Like, I've got so many.
I got it. Look, I got it. They're right here.
Oh, yeah.
You lent it. I think you lent this to me.
No, that's free comic book day.
No, that's the
You
free
got that for
comic book
free.
day one.
Oh, this is just mine.
Yeah.
And I bought comic book sleeves for myself.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Look
When
at you.
I went to Twilight Comics over in
He's growing up so
Collinsville.
fast.
Yeah, you're gonna have.
He's growing up so
one of
fast.
these holes right here is perfect for a
I guess
little short box.
Yeah, we're here. There was a couple things I didn't get to shout out with Jenna. I did get Ultimate Spider-Man 2.
nice.
So
Nice.
it's happening. I haven't read this yet. Like, this is probably going to be tonight, honestly. I've been putting it off for days.
Is there a new one tomorrow, maybe?
And then Secret Wars, I mean, I just got to watch.
Yes.
I'll tell you what I just watched
Reprint.
too. Oh my god. The animated series Spider-Man. What's that? What's it called technically?
Spider-Man the animated series.
Oh my god. I watched all of season 5. It's so good.
Just
Is that
out
the
of
last
nowhere?
season?
Like,
That's the last season.
That's
oh,
like-
okay.
Well, I mean, after X-Men 97.
That's like the
Okay.
Avenger.
I was like, I'm gonna find out what this story is of Mary Jane, like for real. And that part, yeah, it is. It's like an Avenger movie, the part 5 finale.
It's like the X-Men finale, but like for the whole season.
Yeah, you get the freaking Madam Web teams up with.
Oh my god, it's all coming together.
Yes.
Oh, you've heard Andy.
Look, he's dead, which is doing great on Netflix. We've heard.
Oh yeah, that's because people want to see the train wreck. They just don't want to pay for it.
And she teams up with the Beyonder, and he's like
wow.
he's basically like, Spider-Man, you're the ultimate hero. This is like your last time to be the best hero. Pick your own team. You're fighting the top villains. Like, I mean, I know I'm getting into spoilers, but I'm not saying names. If you haven't, it was like watching it for the first time for me. I was like, I remember some of this, but it's epic watching it right now.
really
And
is.
it made me immediately like mad that there wasn't closure.
Yeah.
Because Madam Web at the very end, here's a spoiler if you're like really not wanting to know. Like she's like with Peter Parker and she's like, let's go have the biggest fucking adventure in the world. Like, essentially, she's like, you're about to do the craziest stuff. And he goes, I think it's time that I finally had a good life. He says something like that. And she's like, yeah, you've had enough misery. And he goes, tell me about it.
Wow.
And it's like really powerful of like all the shit that Peter Parker goes through. And he's just like, I just want to. And he's like, finally the best Spider-Man. And then the show ends. Scott's yawning. You got anything?
98.
You don't give a
said
shit.
it. You
You don't
said
give a
it.
shit
Spidey-
about that
Spidey
cartoon.
98.
Would it be 98? Did it end in 97?
No, I don't know.
We're-
I think I can't.
It was about to be this.
We can't just 97 everything. I think right.
Right.
I just want to see more. And
It
I
was
think- I
about to
think it'll
be
happen.
Ultimate Spider-Man, kind
Yeah.
of. He was about to be like a man.
Finally growing up.
No, Madam Web had everything she needs.
Yeah, I mean, with the power came the responsibility.
Oh my, whatever the hell they said.
Great.
All right, guys, that's Mostly Superheroes. Jenna Anderson from Comic Book, from Phase Zero. Thanks for coming on. That was too much fun. And we will see you next time on the program. Subscribe, tell a friend, go to mostlysuperheroes.com. There's something for everybody. We'll see you there. Take it easy. Mostly Superheroes is proud to be funded in part by our sponsors. Mostly Superheroes is funded in part by paying patrons who receive early, ad-free, and exclusive episodes. Subscribe at mostlysuperheroes.com/support. Thank you for supporting your favorite independent podcast. Mostly Superheroes is an independent podcast owned and operated by Kerrigan Ventures in St. Louis, Missouri. Hosted by Logan Janis, Andy Hunn, and Scott Swearingen. Brand and creative by Carrie Clark Design. Music by Audionautics. Learn more at audionautics.com. Find more at mostlysuperheroes.com.